What science is calling 3I/Atlas is not what it seems. I operated on a wounded alien, and in return, he revealed the truth to me. And when you discover what this interstellar object really is, you'll realize the story of comets is just a lie told to lull humanity to sleep. The revelation I received isn't about meteors, collisions, or asteroids. It's about something much deeper. Something that's active, that's happening right now, and that could rewrite Earth's history. Dr. Nathan Cross saw Atlas from a perspective NASA never will. He discovered that the cosmos isn't random. It is an orchestra of forces, guided by a higher purpose, waiting for you to awaken in faith. Are you ready for the truth that transcends conventional science? To find out what Atlas really is and what it's doing now, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. And if you seek to understand these mysteries beyond the official narratives, reconnecting with the creative power, the divine spark that resides within you, your exclusive guide is in the first pinned comment below the video. Click now and begin your journey with the book, reconnecting with your divine essence. Now let me tell you how it all began. That morning, Dr. Nathan Cross was alone in the medical office at the Astronomical Research Station when the seismic alarm went off. 2:47 a.m. The lonely shift. The Atacama Desert stretches on forever under the clearest sky on the planet. 41 years old, a general practitioner, 3 years working at this isolated station in northern Chile. Most of my colleagues thought it was strange. What competent doctor would choose to be in the middle of nowhere? Nathan never fully explained, but the truth was simple. He came to be closer to the stars, feeling closer to the Creator, closer to a bigger truth. Since childhood, he'd been fascinated by extraterrestrial life. While others dreamed of being astronauts, Nathan dreamed of meeting them, understanding them, connecting. 3 years there. 3 years watching the sky, waiting. Nothing. And slowly, painfully, resignation was taking over. A crisis of faith. Maybe we're alone. Maybe there'll never be contact. But that morning, everything changed. Seismic alarm. Nathan checked the monitor. Impact detected. 8 kilometers north, moderate force, but an abnormal thermal reading. And then he saw it, an electromagnetic signal moving toward the station. His heart raced. Meteors don't move deliberately. Satellites don't generate that kind of signal. He went to the window. Dark desert, endless stars, and then he saw a light, faint, staggering, approaching. Nathan stepped outside. The cold desert night air cut through his lungs. He walked toward the light, flashlight in hand, and he stopped completely when he saw it. A humanoid figure, but the proportions were wrong. A large head, limbs too long, dragging and wounded, clearly wounded. Something was oozing from its chest, a liquid that glowed, silvery blue, luminescent. The creature lifted its head, saw Nathan, and staggered, almost collapsing. Nathan felt shock, pure terror. Every instinct screamed to flee. But then he saw its eyes, huge, completely black, but filled with something universal. Pain, fear, a plea, and the doctor inside him spoke louder than the terror. Someone is injured, needs help. Nathan ran, catching the creature before it fell. It was lighter than expected. Its skin was strangely warm, almost vibrating. You need treatment. My office. Now. He didn't know if the creature understood, but it didn't resist as Nathan helped carry it back to the station. Good luck. Solo duty tonight. No one to see. No one to explain the impossibility. He placed the creature on a stretcher. The fluorescent light revealed details that made Nathan tremble. It wasn't monstrous, just profoundly different. Alien in the most literal sense. The chest wound was a deep puncture, the luminescent fluid still oozing. Okay. Nathan pulled on gloves with shaking hands. I don't know your anatomy, but I'll try. He began by cleaning the wound, carefully examining the damage. The internal structure wasn't human, but there was a logic to it. Patterns Nathan recognized even though they were alien. An hour passed. Nathan worked with complete concentration, sealing vessels, if they were vessels, suturing tissue, if it was tissue. And then it happened, when Nathan pressed on the wound to staunch the flow, touching deeply. He felt something in his mind. Not his pain, the creature's pain. As if, thank you. Nathan froze. I heard that? Yes. Sorry to scare you. It is the only way I can communicate. Are you in my head? When you touch my body directly, mind touches mind. A temporary connection? Telepathic? Nathan looked down at his hands, still in contact with the wound. This is real. You are real. Yes, and you are saving my life. What happened? How did you... Ship damaged. Collision with debris. Had to make an emergency landing. I was injured during the descent. Nathan continued working, processing the impossibility while his hands operated automatically. How long until you can leave? If the wound stabilizes, a few hours. My physiology regenerates faster than a human's. And then you leave, and I'm left here questioning my sanity. Nathan felt something. Not words, but a feeling. Amusement. You are not crazy, although I understand your doubt. 3 years here. 3 years waiting for some sign of life outside. And now I literally fall into your wounded lap. Synchronicity. What you might call synchronicity. What your faith traditions call providence. The universe connecting those who need to find each other. You were searching for purpose. I needed help. Our paths crossed as they were meant to. Nathan finished the improvised suture. He covered the wound with a bandage. The luminescent liquid finally stopped oozing. There. Best I can do with alien anatomy. It is enough. I can already feel the healing beginning. Nathan sat on the stool, finally allowing himself to truly look, see, absorb. An alien. Real. On his stretcher. Telepathic. Why here? Why Earth? Observation. Your species is at a profound crossroads. Interesting how? You can evolve consciously, or you can continue your destructive patterns. And you observe. For what? A cosmic, scientific report? No. We observe because we care. Your species has immense potential, but also immense risks. Nathan thought about the news. Wars, climate change, polarization. We haven't painted a pretty picture lately. No, but you also show great beauty, art, compassion, deep love. A fascinating paradox. How many of you are watching? Many. From various civilizations. Nathan felt dizzy. Then, we're not alone. You never were. Never. But most of you deny it. You don't want to see it. It is more comfortable to believe in cosmic solitude. Why? Why would that be more comfortable? Because knowing, really knowing, means you have to grow. To change. To admit that you are not the center of everything. Nathan was quiet, absorbing this. The creature on the stretcher was breathing easier now. The wound was visibly improving. The regeneration was accelerated. Do you have a name? Something I can call you? A name you would understand. Lyron. Okay. I'm Nathan. I know. I felt it when you touched me. Doctor. Lonely. Seeker. You read my mind completely? Not completely. Just the essence. Who you are deep down. And who am I? Someone who always knew there was more. Who came to the desert looking for answers. Who is tired of waiting, but has not given up hope completely. Nathan felt something tighten in his throat. 3 years. 3 years of looking at the stars every night, waiting for a sign, any sign. And now I have, Nathan laughed humorlessly. The universe has a strange sense of humor. A comfortable silence settled. Nathan watching Lyran. Lyran resting but conscious. How long until you need to go? At dawn. When the sun rises, I will be strong enough. Nathan looked out the window. The sky was beginning to lighten on the horizon. Then we have maybe 2 hours. Ask. Can I ask questions? Of course, that is why you are here. Here? As in, at this station? Here, as in this moment. In this meeting. Providence, remember? And Nathan realized it was no accident. Somehow, impossible but real, this was meant to be. 3 years waiting. And when he had all but given up hope, the answer literally fell from the sky, wounded, needing him. Okay. Nathan took a deep breath. Then let's use these 2 hours. Yes. Ask whatever you want. And as the Atacama Desert slowly brightened outside, Nathan Cross began asking the questions he had kept bottled up all his life, not knowing yet that some answers would change everything, especially the answers about the object that all scientists were observing right now. But that would come later. For now, just a doctor and an alien, connected, talking under a sky that was, Nathan now knew, much less empty than it had always seemed. Nathan pulled the stool closer to the stretcher. Lyran was visibly better. The chest wound no longer glowed as brightly. Regeneration was proceeding at an impossible speed. First question, Nathan began. Why reveal yourself to me? Why not just hide, heal yourself, and leave? Because I was dying. My wound was critical. Without help, I would not have survived until dawn. But you took a risk. I could have run, called the military, reacted with violence. Yes, but I sensed you before you arrived. Your essence, doctor, healer, seeker. I took the risk because my intuition told me you were safe. Nathan processed this. You can sense people from a distance, like emotional radar? Something like that. Energy fields. All conscious beings emit frequencies, some more clearly than others. What about mine? My frequency? What does it say about me? Lyran turned his head, those huge eyes fixed on Nathan. Loneliness, deep, but not bitter. A curiosity that never, to belong, to connect, to find something bigger than yourself. A higher purpose. Nathan felt a lump in his throat. You read me well. It is not reading. It is perception. You broadcast this strongly. Nathan was silent for a moment. Then, you said many civilizations observe Earth. How many exactly? Difficult to quantify. Directly, dozens. Indirectly, hundreds. Some simply monitor. Others study in depth. And you? Your civilization? What category? In-depth study. We have been following human development for millennia. Millennia? Nathan leaned in. Since when? Since before you had writing. We have observed the rise and fall of civilizations, your progress and your regression. And you never interfered? Never helped? Direct interference is complicated. Free will is sacred. Each species must find its own path to the light. But you observe, like scientists observing rats in a maze. No, the thought came firmly, not as an experiment, as concern, as hope. We are cheering for you. Cheering for what? That you may evolve, that you may finally choose love over fear, unity over division, before it's too late. Nathan felt the weight in those words. Late, as in extinction. Yes, we have seen it happen. Intelligent species that did not consciously evolve in time. Self-destruction in various forms. How many? How many didn't make it? Many, more than I care to count. What about us? Humans, can we make it? Lyran was silent. Then, it is still undefined. You are at a critical juncture. The coming years and decades will determine your trajectory. Nathan stood up, began pacing. That's a lot of weight. Knowing that we're being cosmically evaluated. Not evaluated, observed. A big difference. Evaluation implies external judgment. Observation is just witnessing. But what if we fail? What if we self-destruct? You just watch? Yes, sadly. But yes, that seems cruel. It is respect for autonomy, for the right to choose one's own destiny, even if it is destructive. Nathan paused at the window. The sky was brightening rapidly now. Pink and orange tinted the desert horizon. You mentioned frequencies, energy fields. Is that real? Scientifically verifiable? Yes. Your science does not measure it properly yet, but it is starting. Your quantum physics touches on these ideas. Quantum entanglement. Non-locality. Yes, consciousness is a quantum field. Thought is frequency. Emotion is vibration, not metaphors, measurable realities. Nathan returned to the stool. So when you say high frequency or low frequency, it's literal. Love, compassion, joy, these are the high frequencies. Your scriptures speak of this, the fruits of the Spirit, fear, hate, despair, low frequencies, real physics. And this affects reality? Physics, yes. The collective consciousness shapes your shared reality. Not immediately, not magically, but gradually and profoundly. Think of water. Ice crystals form different patterns based on ambient vibrations. Masaru Emoto's experiments touched on this. I read about that. Controversial. Controversial because it implies that consciousness affects matter. This threatens your materialist paradigm. But you're saying it's real. Yes, and not just water. All matter responds to the frequency of consciousness, especially collective consciousness, Nathan sighed. So if humanity collectively vibrates fear, reality reflects this? Chaos, conflict, disaster? And if it vibrates love? Harmony, cooperation, flourishing. Think of the power of collective prayer. It is the same principle. As your scriptures say, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name. It creates a power. This is that power on a planetary scale. Nathan shook his head. That sounds like New Age spirituality. It sounds that way because your scientific vocabulary is still limited, but your quantum physics is catching up. The observer effect, wave function collapse, consciousness affects the outcome. Okay. Nathan took a deep breath. So, we're what? Reality shapers? Co-creators? Not omnipotent, but influential, especially collectively. And right now, your current collective frequency, how is it? Low. Very low. Fear dominates. The media amplifies it. People resonate with it. A vicious cycle. Afraid of what? Everything. War, the economy, the climate, the future. And now, Lyran paused, as if choosing his words carefully. And now what? Nathan pressed. Nothing. Keep asking about us, about the observation. Nathan sensed Lyran was avoiding something, but he didn't press. Yet. Your civilization, what is it like? Very different. We evolved beyond conflict millennia ago. We live in conscious harmony. How? How did you get there? Crisis. We nearly destroyed ourselves. And then we chose differently. Collectively. A critical mass awakened. How long did it take? Generations. But once it started, it accelerated. Exponential change when enough people consciously choose. And now you're perfect. No, we still learn. We grow. But we do not destroy. We do not hate. We do not vibrate fear as a default. What is it like, living like that? Peaceful, but not monotonous. There are still challenges, growth, exploration. Just conscious. Nathan looked out the window. The sun was fully rising now. The desert was golden in the new light. It's almost time for you to leave. Yes. The wound is healed enough. And me? What do I do with this, with everything you told me? What you choose, you can ignore it, rationalize it as a hallucination, or you can integrate it. Let it change you. Change how? Choose differently. Vibrate differently. Be an example of a higher frequency. Be a light. Me? A guy in the middle of the desert? How does that make a difference? Every drop raises the ocean. Every awakened consciousness influences the collective field. You are not insignificant. You never were. Nathan felt something tighten in his chest. 3 years here, alone, thinking he was waiting for contact, but really he was running away. From human connection. From belonging. Yes, isolation was your form of self-preservation. But also, self-imprisonment. And now? Now you know you are not alone in the cosmos. You never were. The question is, will you remain alone on Earth? Lyran began to stand, slowly. His movements were firmer, recovered. I have to go. My ship is waiting. Far, but accessible. Wait. Nathan touched Lyran's arm. Deliberate contact. There's something you're not telling me. I can feel it. What is it? Lyran looked at Nathan with those impossible eyes. There is. And you need to know, but not now, when you are more prepared. Prepared for what? To choose not to vibrate in fear, even when you have every reason to be afraid. That doesn't make sense. It will. Soon. Very soon. Lyran walked to the door, stopped, and turned. Nathan Cross, thank you for saving my life, for listening, for being who you are. Will I see you again? Maybe not physically, but the connection remains. When you need it, you will know you are not alone. That is both comforting and frustrating at the same time. Welcome to conscious living. And Lyran left. Nathan followed him outside the station. The desert was bathed in golden light. Lyran began walking. Then he just disappeared. Not exactly invisible, just no longer perceptible, as if he dropped out of phase with visible reality. Nathan stood still for a long time. The sun was hot on his face. The desert was silent. And for the first time in 3 years, he didn't feel alone. But he also didn't fully understand why. When you are more prepared, Lyran had said. Prepared for what? Nathan returned to the station. His shift was ending. His colleagues would be arriving soon. Life was, in short, normal. But nothing was normal anymore. Because now he knew. He really knew. And in a few days, he would understand why Lyran had been evasive. He would understand what not vibrating in fear really meant, and why it was more urgent than he could imagine. 3 days later, Nathan was in the station cafeteria when he heard it. Have you seen the news about 3I/Atlas? Carlos, an Argentine astronomer, pointed to a laptop. Other colleagues approached. Nathan looked. Headline: Interstellar Object 3I/Atlas approaches. Scientists monitor trajectory. It's the second interstellar object detected, Carlos explained, after Oumuamua in 2017. But this one is much bigger, and its behavior is strange. Strange how? Nathan asked, his curiosity piqued. Unusual albedo. It reflects light in a way that doesn't match its estimated composition. And its trajectory. It has micro-adjustments that shouldn't exist in an inert object. Sarah, a British astrophysicist, rolled her eyes. Here we go. More alien ship theories. I'm not saying that, Carlos defended. It's just, the behavior isn't 100% explained yet. Nathan felt something strange, a memory of Lyran's words. And now? When does it pass closest to Earth? Nathan asked. It's already relatively close. 270 million kilometers. Seems like a lot, but in astronomical terms, it's significant. And is there any danger of collision? No. 0 chance. The trajectory is well mapped. It will pass smoothly. Sarah picked up her cell phone. But look at the media. The hysteria has already started. She showed headlines. Giant asteroid approaches. Should we be worried? 3I/Atlas. What scientists are not telling us. Mysterious object may pose. Unknown threat. Typical sensationalism, Sarah snorted. 0 danger, but they sell fear for clicks. Nathan scanned the headlines, feeling something uncomfortable and familiar. Media amplifies fear. People resonate. A vicious cycle. Lyran's words, echoing. Sorry, Nathan stood up. I need to check something. He returned to his room. He opened his laptop and started researching. 3I/Atlas, discovered 6 months ago. Interstellar object coming from outside the solar system. Estimated composition, ice and rock. But anomalous behavior raises questions. And the media? God, the media. Hundreds of articles, most of them speculative, alarmist, creating narratives of threat where none existed. Nathan read the comments on social media. Thousands of people. What if scientists are wrong about the trajectory? Governments always hide the truth until the last minute. We need to prepare for impact. The end of times is coming. Fear. Pure, irrational, but real to those who felt it. Nathan closed his laptop, heart racing. When you are more prepared, to choose not to vibrate in fear. That was what it was about. Not about aliens, not about a conspiracy. About 3I/Atlas, and the human reaction to it. The next night, Nathan was on the station terrace, his favorite place to stargaze. His personal telescope was pointed at the region where 3I/Atlas was. He couldn't see it with the naked eye, but he knew it was there. And he felt something. Not physical, but a presence, a knowing. Nathan. He spun around. Nothing. Just the dark desert and the starry sky. Lyran? He whispered. Are you here? Not physically, but the connection remains. I can project thoughts when you are receptive. I'm going crazy. No. You are just more sensitive now, to frequencies you didn't perceive before. 3I/Atlas, Nathan said. That's what this is about, isn't it? What you didn't tell me. Yes. What is it? Really? I cannot just tell you. You need to understand the context first. The right questions lead to the right answers. Okay. First question. Is it dangerous? Will it hit Earth? No. Physically, it is harmless. It will pass at a safe distance. But you hinted at something. Something that would make me want to be afraid. Not about the object itself. About humanity's reaction to it. The collective fear. You spoke of it. The low frequency. Yes. And 3I/Atlas is a catalyst, an amplifier. Nathan sat in a chair. Explain. Please. You've seen the news. You've seen how the media presents it. You've seen the people's reactions. I saw unnecessary panic. But it's always like that with the unknown. Yes, but this time the scale is different. And 3I/Atlas is not just a passive object. What does that mean? Tomorrow, when the sun rises, go to the place where you found me, alone. I will show you something that words cannot adequately convey. Show me how. Are you coming back? No, but I can project a shared vision, if you are willing. Nathan hesitated. Is this safe? Completely. Just intense. Prepare yourself mentally. For what? To see 3I/Atlas as it really is. and to understand humanity's role in all of this. The presence disappeared. Nathan was left alone on the terrace, looking at the sky, at the stars, at the region where the mysterious object was floating. A catalyst, an amplifier. What did that mean? The next morning, Nathan left before dawn. He walked the 8 kilometers north to the place where Lyran had fallen, where it all began. Sunrise, a silent desert. Nathan sat on a rock, waiting. "I'm here. Okay, show me. What is 3I/Atlas? Close your eyes. Breathe. Open your mind." Nathan obeyed. And then, the vision. Not with his eyes, but in his mind, clear as reality. He saw 3I/Atlas, not as rock and ice, but as a field of energy, a consciousness crystallized in material form. "It's not just a comet," Nathan whispered. "It is a mirror," Lyran explained, telepathically. "A cosmic mirror. It reflects the collective frequency, the collective soul of your planet. Back at you. Amplified." Nathan saw it. He felt how it worked. Earth, emitting frequencies, billions of consciousnesses, fear, love, anger, compassion, all mixed together. And 3I/Atlas, absorbing, processing, and reflecting it back. Amplified. If humanity vibrates fear over it, Lyran continued, it reflects amplified fear back. The cycle intensifies. Nathan opened his eyes, the vision fading. But it's just an object. How can it do that? It is not just an object. It is an entity, a consciousness different from the organic, but real. And it is here. Why? By chance? There is no such thing as coincidence. It appears when civilizations must face their own reflection, a great test of faith, a revelation, an opportunity. Nathan felt the weight settle. An opportunity for what? To choose, vibrate fear, and have fear reflected and amplified, or vibrate peace, and have peace reflected and amplified. Free will, always free will, and humanity. How are we choosing? Watch the news. Check social media. What do you think? Nathan thought about the headlines, the comments, the growing panic. Fear. They are choosing fear. Yes. And 3I/Atlas reflects this back. Global chaos intensifies. Conflicts, anxiety, everything is amplified. So, we're doomed. An inevitable downward spiral. No, there is still a choice, individual and collective, but the window is narrowing. Nathan stood still, processing an impossibility that somehow made perfect sense. What do I do? A doctor in the desert? How can I help? You choose. You choose not to vibrate in fear. And that choice influences the field around you. Small but real. When others panic, you remain at peace. You become an anchor, a stabilizer. What if I can't? What if the fear is stronger? Then you get dragged in too. But if you can, you become part of the solution, not the savior, but one among many who choose differently. Nathan looked at the horizon. The sun was now completely overhead, the golden desert, and somewhere up there, invisible but real, 3I/Atlas floated, waiting, reflecting, amplifying. A mirror, showing humanity exactly what it was choosing to be. Nathan returned to the station in a state of silent shock. A cosmic mirror, a collective frequency amplifier, crystallized consciousness. Every word sounded impossible, but also right, in a way he couldn't explain. He locked himself in his room. He opened his laptop and started researching everything about 3I/Atlas again. But this time, he wasn't looking for scientific data. He was looking for patterns. News from 2 weeks ago, when 3I/Atlas was initially detected. Neutral tone, scientific curiosity, interesting interstellar object. A week ago, the tone was changing. Mysterious object raises questions. Speculation beginning. 3 days ago, escalation. possible threat. Should we be worried? Fear infiltrating the narrative. Today, alarming headlines everywhere, panic growing exponentially, and Nathan saw it. A clear pattern. How fear fueled fear. How the media amplified it. How people resonated. The mirror reflecting back. Amplified. A knock on the door. "Nathan, are you in there?" Carlos's voice. Nathan opened the door. Carlos entered, visibly agitated. "Dude, did you see? They just published a new study. 3I/Atlas's trajectory has more anomalies than we thought." "What kind of anomalies?" "Micro-accelerations. Impossible for a passive object. It's as if it's responding to something." Nathan shivered. Responding to what? "We don't know, but the theories are exploding. Some say it's a spaceship, others say it's a probe. And the lunatics are saying crazy things." "What? Madness? That it's some kind of conscious entity? That it's reacting to collective human thoughts? Ridiculous, obviously." Nathan kept his expression neutral. "Obviously. But the worst," Carlos sat down heavily, "is the panic. Sarah showed me social media analysis. Mentions of 3I/Atlas are up 800% in 3 days, and 70% of them are negative, alarmist, apocalyptic. And does that matter? It matters for collective mental health. There are already reports of an increase in anxiety attacks. Bunker sales are rising. People are going into full panic mode." Nathan looked out the window. What if the panic is justified? "It's not," Carlos almost shouted. "The object will pass 270 million kilometers away. 0 risk of impact. But no one listens to science. They just feed the fear. They feed the fear, and the fear is reflected back, amplified." "Carlos," Nathan chose his words carefully. "What if there is a danger, but not a physical one? What if the object isn't an impact threat, but another type of influence?" Carlos frowned. "What kind?" Nathan hesitated. Then he decided. "Sit down. I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to sound unbelievable." 30 minutes later, Carlos was pale. "You're saying you operated on a wounded alien, that he told you 3I/Atlas is a conscious, cosmic mirror, and that our collective fear is being reflected back, amplified. Nathan, have you slept in the last few nights? I know how it sounds. You had a stress-induced hallucination. The isolation, dude. You've been alone in this desert for 3 years. I touched him. I felt the wound. I treated it. A luminescent liquid that wasn't blood. And where is he now? This alien. He left. His ship picked him up. Convenient." Carlos stood up. "Nathan, you need help. Psychological. I know you don't believe me. I don't expect you to. But answer me one question. Don't you think it's strange how this panic is escalating so quickly, so disproportionate to the real danger?" Carlos paused. "It's unusual, but social media does that. It amplifies everything. What if it's not just the media? What if there's a real mechanism, physical, quantum? Nathan, consciousness affects quantum reality on a microscopic scale. The observer effect, the double slit. You know that. Not on a planetary scale with an object measuring kilometers. Why not? If consciousness is a quantum field, and physics suggests it is, why can't it interact with other fields?" Carlos shook his head. Even if there was a grain of truth to it, what could we do? Don't vibrate in fear. What? Choose peace, intentionally, consciously. When you see the alarming news, when you feel the panic rising, choose peace instead. And that would, what? change the asteroid. It would change our individual frequency, which contributes to the collective frequency, which is what's being reflected back. Carlos looked at Nathan for a long moment. You really believe this? Yes. Then you're either completely crazy, or you saw something that changed everything. The second option? Carlos sighed. Okay, I'll think about it. But Nathan, don't tell Sarah about this. She'll have you committed. I won't. But Carlos, just try it. The next few weeks, when you see the news about 3I/Atlas, don't panic. Choose peace. See what happens. And if nothing happens, then at least you'll be calmer than everyone else. Nothing to lose. Carlos left, leaving Nathan alone. He doesn't believe me, but at least I planted a seed. That night, Nathan meditated, for the first time in years. He sat, he breathed, he focused, and he felt it. The frequency field all around him. He didn't see it, he felt it. The collective anxiety of the station, the fear floating in the air like an invisible mist. Lyron, are you listening? Yes. How do I do this? How do I not vibrate with fear when everything around me is in panic? You do not deny the fear, but you do not feed it. Observe it, acknowledge it, and let it pass. As a doctor observes a symptom without becoming the disease. What if I fail? What if the fear is stronger? Then you try again. It is not about perfection. It is about the repeated, conscious choice. It is the real work of faith. How many? How many need to do this to make a difference? It is not a fixed number. It is a critical mass, a turning point. It could be thousands, it could be millions, but each one matters. And if we don't reach it, if the collective fear is overwhelming, then 3I/Atlas reflects this back. The chaos intensifies, but it is not too late. There is still a choice. How long? Until it passes. Weeks, maybe months, until it is out of significant vibrational range, and then it leaves. It takes its reflection with it, and humanity is left with the result of its own choices. If you choose fear, you reap the consequences of amplified fear. If you choose peace, you reap amplified harmony. Nathan took a deep breath. So the next few weeks are a test, an opportunity, a big difference, an opportunity to see your own collective reflection, honestly, and decide if you like what you see. 3I/Atlas does not judge, it only shows. A neutral mirror. The responsibility for changing the reflection has always been yours. Nathan opened his eyes. The room was dark. The window showed a starry sky, and up there, invisible but real, a cosmic mirror floated, waiting, reflecting, amplifying, showing humanity exactly what it was choosing to be. Choose not to vibrate in fear. Simple but not easy, especially when the whole world seemed to be panicking. But Nathan had to try. Not because he would save the world single-handedly, but because it was his part, his choice, his responsibility. And maybe, just maybe, if enough people made the same choice, the mirror would reflect something different back. Something more beautiful, more harmonious, more human in the best sense. But only if they chose, consciously, repeatedly. And time was running out. The others. Resonance. The following days were a constant test. The news got worse. Protests in capital cities, looting in some cities, escalating conflicts. And Nathan, daily, choosing, consciously, peace over panic. It wasn't easy. Some hours he failed. The anxiety took over. The fear crept in. But then he remembered. He breathed. He chose again. The mirror reflects what I vibrate. I choose peace. Again. Always again. One night, Carlos found him. Nathan, can I talk? Of course. Carlos walked in, closed the door. I've been trying what you said, choosing not to panic. And it works. Sort of. Like, I still see the scary news, but it doesn't consume me like it used to. Nathan felt a spark of hope. You're being an anchor, a point of calm. It sounds ridiculous, but Sarah even commented that I'm strangely zen considering the situation. Huh? She's still rational, but tense. Very tense. Carlos paused. Nathan, do you really believe this? That our collective consciousness is affecting that object up there? Yes. And if enough of us choose peace, the mirror reflects peace back. A virtuous cycle instead of a vicious one. Carlos was silent. Then, I'm trying to believe it. I really am. Because the alternative, that we're helpless as the world goes mad, is just too terrifying. We are not powerless. We never were. We just forgot. We forgot that consciousness creates reality. Not magically, not instantaneously, but gradually, profoundly, and collectively. Carlos nodded, slowly. I'll keep trying, choosing peace, even when it's hard. It's all we can do, and it's enough. After Carlos left, Nathan returned to the window. 2 weeks since Lyran left. 2 weeks of a constant test, and Nathan could tell he was changing, not dramatically, but profoundly. Less reactive, more centered, more aware of his own moment-to-moment choices. This is evolution, Lyran had said. Not a one-time event, but a constant practice. And up there, invisible but present, 3I/Atlas continued, reflecting, amplifying, showing, a neutral mirror, waiting for humanity to decide what reflection it wanted to see. And Nathan, a lone doctor in the desert, was doing his part. Small, but real. 3 weeks after meeting Lyran, something changed. Nathan woke up and felt it. A subtle difference in the air, in the frequency around him. Not dramatic, but noticeable, to one who was paying attention. He went to the cafeteria. Sarah was there, drinking coffee. "Good morning," she said. And Nathan noticed her tone was different, less tense than the previous days. "Good morning. You seem better." "Better?" Sarah considered. "Yes, actually I am. I realized yesterday I was obsessed with the news, checking my phone every 5 minutes, and I thought, this is driving me crazy, and it's not helping anything. So, I stopped. I deleted the news apps. I'll check once a day. Just the scientific facts. No more sensationalism." Nathan felt hope rise. "And how do you feel?" "Lighter. It's weird. The threat hasn't changed. 3I/Atlas is still there. But I don't feel that constant weight anymore." Carlos came in, holding his laptop. "Did you see? The trend. It's starting to change." "What trend?" Nathan asked. "Social media analysis on 3I/Atlas. The peak of panic was 5 days ago. Since then, it's been decreasing. Slowly, but steadily." "Really?" Sarah stepped closer. Carlos showed the graphs. "Mentions are still high, but the tone has changed. Less apocalyptic, more rational, and conscious choice movements are growing." "Conscious choice?" Nathan's heart raced. "Yes, hashtags. #choose peace. #conscious response. #faith over fear." It started small, but it's gaining traction. Millions of people deliberately choosing not to panic. Nathan had to sit down. "It's working, a critical mass. It's forming." Sarah read aloud from a post. A viral post. "Yes, 3I/Atlas is there. No, it won't hit us. Yes, the future is uncertain, but panic doesn't help. I choose peace. Who's with me?" 15 million likes. "And another," Carlos continued. "A global mass meditation, a global day of prayer, scheduled for tonight, to radiate peace as the object passes. Millions, focusing on positive frequencies instead of fear. 50 million people already confirmed. Nathan closed his eyes. Tears threatened. They were waking up, understanding, choosing. "Nathan, are you okay?" Sarah asked. "Yeah," he wiped his eyes. "Just relieved. Very relieved." "Why? You always knew there was no real danger." It wasn't about the physical danger. It was about our collective response." Sarah studied him. You knew something from the beginning, didn't you?" Nathan looked at her. A quick decision. "I'm going to tell you something. You won't believe it. But I'm going to tell you anyway." 30 minutes later, Sarah was pale but alert. "Let me get this straight. You operated on an alien. He told you that 3I/Atlas is a conscious cosmic mirror, that it reflects our amplified collective frequency, and you've been trying not to vibrate in fear to influence the reflection. Yes. And Carlos, you knew?" "He told me," Carlos said. "And I've been trying it too, consciously choosing peace." Sarah looked at Carlos. "And you believe this?" Carlos hesitated. I don't know if I believe in the alien, but I believe Nathan experienced something that changed him, and I believe choosing peace works. Empirically, I'm calmer, you're calmer, the global trends are changing." "Correlation is not causation," Sarah said automatically. "But what if it is?" Nathan pressed. "What if consciousness actually affects reality? Quantum physics suggests it. On a subatomic scale, not planetary. Why not? If consciousness is a quantum field, and the evidence is growing, why wouldn't it interact with other fields at any scale?" Sarah was quiet. Then, "I will consider it as a possibility. But Nathan, I need more than your word on the alien. I have no physical proof. He left. But I have the knowledge he passed to me, and it's proving to be real, in real time. The panic is subsiding, just as he said it would. If enough chose peace, a critical mass, the collective field is shifting." Sarah looked at the charts on Carlos's laptop. The trends shifting, the tone shifting, the collective frequency shifting. "Okay," she said finally. "I'll try. Not because I completely believe it, but because, well, it can't hurt. And if it works, if it really works, then we're more powerful than we thought. Co-creators," Nathan finished, "not victims." That night, Nathan participated in the global meditation. Not physically. He was alone on the station terrace, but consciously. 7 p.m. GMT. Millions around the world. Stopping, focusing, praying, radiating peace. Nathan sat. He breathed, he focused, and he felt it. Clearly, distinctly. The collective consciousness field, shifting like a wave, starting small, growing, spreading. Peace, intentional, conscious, millions choosing simultaneously, a symphony of faith, and 3I/Atlas. Nathan felt it. Not with his eyes, but with his expanded perception. The object responded, it reflected. A different frequency, returning. Lighter, more harmonious. "Lyron, are you feeling this?" "Yes." "It is beautiful. Humanity. Choosing. Collectively. It's working. Yes, not complete. There is still fear, but the balance, it is shifting. The critical mass is approaching. What happens when we reach it? 3I/Atlas reflects amplified peace back. A virtuous cycle is established. And then it leaves, taking the moment with it. But leaving humanity transformed. Transformed how? Knowing, really knowing, that consciousness matters, that your choices matter, that you are not powerless. A lesson that many civilizations take millennia to learn. You are learning it. In weeks, Nathan opened his eyes. The starry sky, and he felt a deep gratitude. For Lyran, for an impossible encounter, for the truth that changed everything. "Thank you," he whispered, "for falling near me, for trusting me, for showing me. Thank you, Nathan, for saving, for listening, for choosing, and for helping others choose. You were a seed, planted, growing, spreading." Carlos appeared on the terrace. "Nathan, did you feel that?" "Feel what?" "The meditation. I participated, and I felt something, like a wave of peace, going right through me. I can't explain it. It was real." Nathan smiled. "Yes, it was real. Collective consciousness, focused. It's powerful. So, it's true, everything you said. It's really true." "Yes." Carlos sat, looking at the stars. "So, we're not alone, and we are not powerless. And the future, it depends on our choices." "Yes," Nathan said. "It always did. We just didn't know. And now we know. Now we know." And that night, under the Atacama sky, two men sat in silence, feeling the change. Not external, internal, and collective. The tipping point, the critical mass, forming, and 3I/Atlas, the silent, cosmic mirror, reflecting differently. No longer just amplified fear, but a rising, real peace. Humanity, seeing a new reflection, and beginning to like what it saw. 6 weeks after meeting Lyran, Nathan was on the terrace, watching the sunrise when he felt it. A change, definitive, final. "Nathan, Lyran, you feel different, more distant." "Yes. 3I/Atlas is leaving. It is leaving significant vibrational range. The connection between us weakens. So, this is it. This is the end of a phase, not of the journey. What you have learned remains." Nathan looked up at the clearing sky. It worked, didn't it? Enough chose peace. The critical mass was reached. Yes, not perfectly. There is still fear. There always will be. But the balance has shifted. Humanity has seen its own reflection, its darkness and its light, and consciously chosen to change. What now? 3I/Atlas leaves, and everything goes back to normal. No. Nothing goes back. It only continues. Differently. Humanity now knows, really knows, that consciousness matters. That collective choices shape reality. Some will forget. They will fall back into the old patterns. But enough will remember. And that changes everything. What's next? For Earth? For us? It is up to you. It always has been. But now you know it. And knowledge is responsibility. And you? Your civilization? Will you keep watching? Yes, always. But with more hope now. You passed a test that many fail. It wasn't a test, you said. Forgive me. An opportunity. You took it. You chose to evolve, consciously. Nathan felt tears. I'll miss you, your presence, knowing I'm not alone in the universe. You have never been alone, and now you know it on a level you cannot forget. The connection remains, even when you no longer hear my voice. How will I know? How will I remember? Look at the stars. Remember that every point is a possibility. Life, consciousness, observing, hoping, and look at the humans around you, each carrying a divine spark, each carrying the image of the Creator, each a co-creator of your shared reality. You are not alone. You will never be again. Goodbye, Nathan Cross, until we meet again, in this life or another. And the presence disappeared, completely, finally. Nathan stood still, feeling the absence, but also a fullness. He wasn't empty. He was full, with knowledge, with purpose, with connection. 2 weeks later, Nathan was in the cafeteria when the final news about 3I/Atlas came on. interstellar object. 3I/Atlas leaves solar system. Scientists reflect on global phenomenon. The reporter was discussing not just the object, but the human response. Perhaps the most fascinating thing, she said, was not the object itself, but how humanity reacted. An initial panic gave way to a global movement of conscious choice. Millions deliberately choosing peace over fear. Psychologists are calling it an unprecedented collective awakening. Sarah sat next to Nathan. So, it's over. It's gone. Physically, yes, but the impact remains. You were right, she said quietly, about everything. I don't know if I believe in telepathic aliens, but I do believe that our collective consciousness changed something. Something real. And you? He asked. Have you changed? Yes. Not dramatically. But I notice my choices now, moment to moment, where I put my attention, what frequency I choose to vibrate at. She laughed. Listen to me. 3 months ago, I would have scoffed at that. Evolution, Nathan smiled. It happens when we're ready. Carlos joined them. Nathan, I've made a decision. I'm going back to Argentina, but differently, not just as an astronomer. I want to teach about consciousness, about choices, about all of it. That's great, Carlos. And you, Nathan? Sarah asked. Are you going to stay here, in the desert? Nathan looked out the window. The vast Atacama, the endless sky, the solitude he chose 3 years ago. No, I don't think so. The solitude has served its purpose. Now, it's time to reconnect, to participate, to share. Sarah touched his arm. You made a difference. You know that, right? You didn't save the world single-handedly, but you were a catalyst, a seed. We all were, Nathan said. Every single person who chose peace, everyone who refused to feed the fear. We were all catalysts. So, Carlos said, what's next for humanity? Nathan thought. It depends. It always depends. But now, we know it depends on us, and that changes everything. That last night in the Atacama, Nathan went up to the terrace one last time. The impossible clear sky, millions of stars, the resplendent Milky Way, and Nathan looked, really looked, with new understanding. Every star potentially carrying life, consciousness, civilizations watching. Some evolved, others struggling, like Earth. He was not alone. Humanity was not alone. And most importantly, they were not powerless. Consciousness created reality. Not magically, but truly and profoundly. Choices mattered, individual and collective. Frequency mattered. Where they placed their attention mattered. 3I/Atlas had been a mirror, showing an honest reflection, and humanity, enough of them, had chosen to change that reflection. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. And that choice, that ability to consciously choose, even in the midst of fear, that was real evolution. Nathan took a deep breath. The cold desert air, his last moment here. Thank you, he said, to the universe, to Lyran, wherever he was, to 3I/Atlas on its cosmic journey, to the infinite consciousness permeating everything. Thank you for showing me, for showing us, that we are not victims, we are creators. And I promise, I will remember, I will live this, I will share it. Not as preaching, but as presence, by being the frequency I want to see reflected. One day at a time, one choice at a time. It's all I can do, and it is enough. And on that last night, under the Atacama sky, a sky he had watched for 3 years, waiting for a sign, Dr. Nathan Cross finally understood. The sign he was waiting for wasn't just from the stars, it was from within. A call to awaken, to choose consciously, to co-create reality through the frequency of our faith. 3I/Atlas had been the catalyst, the mirror, the teacher. But the lesson was eternal. You are not a victim of the universe. You are a conscious expression of it. And when enough people remember this, everything changes. And under those infinite stars, the doctor who once isolated himself from humanity felt a deep connection. Not just with Lyran, not just with aliens watching, but with every human being on Earth, every consciousness, every co-creator, all together, learning, growing, choosing. And that, finally, was hope. The story of Dr. Nathan Cross shows us a truth that science is beginning to confirm, and that faith has always known. Consciousness is not fleeting. It is active, creative, powerful. You are not a victim of external circumstances. You are a conscious frequency field, a soul, influencing the reality around you. And collectively, the power of collective faith is an unstoppable force, for better or for worse. 3I/Atlas, real or metaphor, represents something profound. The universe constantly shows us a reflection of who we are collectively. When we vibrate fear, reality reflects amplified fear, chaos, conflict, collapse. When we vibrate peace, love, and faith, reality reflects amplified harmony, cooperation, and flourishing. This isn't magic, it is the physics of faith. The observer effect isn't limited to a laboratory. It is a universal principle. Our consciousness, our focused belief, collapses probabilities into realities. And when billions of consciousnesses focus on the same frequency, the effect is immense. Think back over the past few years. How many crises have dominated our collective attention? Pandemic, war, the economy, the climate. Any threat, real or imagined, goes viral instantly. Why? Because fear sells. Fear engages. Fear spreads faster than reason. But there's a problem. The more we collectively feed the fear, the more reality reflects that fear back. Not because the universe is cruel, but because we are active co-creators, not passive observers. Nathan learned this through an impossible encounter. But you don't need an alien to understand. It just requires honesty. Where do you place your attention? What frequency do you choose to vibrate? When you see the alarming news, do you automatically react with panic? Do you share it without checking? Do you feed the cycle? Or do you stop, breathe, and consciously choose how to respond? This is not about denying reality. Real problems exist, challenges are genuine, but fear doesn't solve problems. Conscious action does, and conscious action comes from a frequency of peace, faith, and hope, not panic. This story is a creative metaphor to illustrate a deeper spiritual truth. Collective consciousness, the power of collective faith, affects our shared reality. Your vibrational frequency, your spiritual state, matters. This story is a warning, disguised as a parable. Stop living in fear. Stop fueling the collective panic. The central message is a timeless one, found in all great faiths. Be not afraid. Consciously choose peace, love, and constructive action over reactive panic. If this story resonated with something deep within you, if you felt called to live consciously rather than reactively, we have a transformative resource that can deepen this journey, reconnecting with your divine essence. This book is for anyone who is ready to stop being a victim of circumstances and start being a conscious co-creator of reality. Inside, you will discover how to identify and change your vibrational frequency. Real practice, not abstract theory. Techniques to avoid being swept away by collective fear. How to maintain your peace, your shalom, even when the world goes crazy. How consciousness creates reality. bridging spirituality and quantum physics, tools to become an anchor of peace, influencing the field around you through your conscious presence. The path back to your inner creative power, beyond the narratives that make you feel powerless. If you, like Nathan, are ready to wake up, choose consciously, and vibrate the frequency you want to see reflected in the world. The book is available in the first comment pinned here below the video. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Every week, we bring you stories that challenge the narratives of fear, explore creative consciousness, and point to the power that has always lived within you, but that you forgot to use. Leave in the comments, what frequency have you been vibrating? Fear or peace? Are you ready to consciously choose faith instead of reacting automatically? How did this story change your perspective on objective reality? And if you want to support this channel and help these messages reach more people ready to awaken, become a member or leave your contribution with "Thank you so much." Each support allows us to continue planting these seeds of awareness. Important final note, this is a work of science fiction created to explore concepts of collective consciousness, quantum physics applied to the human experience, and the power of conscious choice over automatic reaction. 3I/Atlas is a real object being studied, but the conscious cosmic mirror narrative is a literary device to illustrate a deeper principle. Where you place your attention and what frequency you choose to vibrate shapes your experience of reality. The central message is to stop living in constant fear. Consciously choose peace, love, and constructive action. Your consciousness matters. Your choices create reality. Use this God-given power wisely.